Hello everyone, welcome to TSAM. My name is Ana and today I have the pleasure of speaking to Neil Vernon. He's the CTO of Gresham Technologies. Welcome.
Afternoon, Ana, thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us. So Neil, I wanted to ask you, what is Gresham observing in the asset management industry?
Well, I'm a technologist, as you know, and so I guess it wouldn't be complete for me to start off with anything other than talking a little bit about technology. So we're definitely seeing a technology shift, and by that I'll be more explicit that we're seeing a move to the cloud, and often hand in hand with embracing some form of managed outsourced service. So people moving to the cloud and managed service. And I think actually, I suspect we'll be talking a lot about this during the session today. We're also seeing a tiredness with data. You know, the buy side needs lots and lots and lots and lots of data to manage their portfolios effectively. And I think forever this has been a problem. Getting this data day by day is a huge problem. Feed after feed, custodian after custodian, one specialized broker after another. They've all got their own formats. They all change in random ways. They all make managing data really, really difficult. And it's actually got worse because the buy side is seeking to offer a wider range of instruments, both within a geography and also cross-border, and getting that data in cross-border ways. A problem we've seen is a common problem across the industry. Wider range of assets, actually. If we look at that a little bit more, there's lots of international assets, I've just mentioned that, but also we see that some of the asset managers moving into digital assets and getting data on digital assets creates yet more problems. And also, and this is an interesting one for me, is that digital assets, of course, are traded real time. They're traded 24/7, and much of the infrastructure for the asset managers is not ready for that. And actually, that's going to be a big problem this time next year as the US moves to T+1. And actually thinking a little bit about those digital assets, they're really badly regulated, in fact, entirely unregulated in most jurisdictions. The CFTC and the SEC are talking about regulation. The FSA is making similar claims, but regulation on digital assets is somewhat lacking. But actually for the asset managers and the investment managers as a whole, we're seeing them dealing with regulation becoming a bigger and bigger problem. So we're seeing organizations struggling to manage the regulatory burden they're under. So lots and lots of problems, but I know this should be a good opportunity to embrace this new wave of tech and move to outsourced provision, to shed costs, and really solve the problem in better ways.
And are asset managers actually embracing the opportunity?
Look, we make a business from asset managers embracing that opportunity. So it would be short-sighted of me to answer your question. No, they're not. But in truth, it's in pockets. The bigger players with bigger wallets to be bolder are finding ways to divest more and move more to managed service provision. And we've taken on some of the data challenges of the leading investment managers in the US. And actually, as a business, we literally process thousands of feeds on a daily basis. We process billions of rows of data. So we know that organizations do embrace outsourcing, and actually not just for us for data, but they come to us for reconciliation. We're seeing more and more firms take both data and reconciliation as a service. And again, and I've talked about regulation, we see that organizations will turn to us to lower their regulatory burden. So I can honestly say there is some degree of embracing this opportunity, but it's isolated, far too isolated, and actually far too much of what is commodity provision available from us, or actually some of our competitors, is still built in-house and run in-house, and when it could be outsourced and those costs lost. And actually, I'm also observing a worrying trend in the opposite direction. I'm literally just off a call where a sizable US investment manager wants to bring their recons back in-house. They outsource them, they turn them over to a managed service provider, But that managed service providers failed them in two ways, actually. Firstly, in the quality of the service. Essentially, you measured on match rates. If your match rates aren't great, then that gives a poor service. So their match rates weren't great. And secondly, I suspect because their match rates weren't great, they failed to offer visibility. So our potential customer is now looking at moving that reconciliation from an outsourced provision to insource. So in my mind, totally the opposite direction. We want that business and we want to win that business. But the managed service providers need to provide that visibility. They need to provide that trust. They need to provide that quality of service. So that is actually a problem that organizations like us need to address and fix the problem so that managed service providers can be trusted. I think we are. I think we're doing a brilliant job. And talk to many of our customers, and here we are. But across the industry, we have failed some organizations.
So around the question whether this is an industry-wide movement, do you think it is? Do you think asset managers are making a industry-wide movement?
I'm going to get on a little hobby horse of mine, actually, and I've said this at a couple of presentations I've done at conferences. If you look at the annual return of a UK pension fund, a UK pension fund will typically give you, in fact, across the industry, will give you 6.6% return. So that's okay. It's better than interest rates. It's just about better than interest rates at the moment. For the last 20 years, it's been a lot better than interest rates. So it's giving you a return. However, our industry, the pension funds, charge 1.5% in annual fees. Don't trust me that. Look at the latest Which report, 1.5%. So if you look at 1.5% against 6.6%, that's 22%. 22% of our returns as consumers, it's my money that's getting lost here, your money that's getting lost here, Anna. That money is getting lost because our industry is inefficient, ineffective, and doesn't manage their processes well. So I think industry-wide, those two data points, 6.6%, 1.5%, tell me that there's a lot more that can be done.
So Neil, what can asset managers do better?
Well, what can they do better? Actually, my belief here is that if you look at the retail banking industry, the retail banking industry is much, much better than it was sort of 10 years ago. And why is that? Well, there's probably many reasons. But I think the biggest reason is that there's been new challenger banks coming into the market. And those challenger banks have really shook up the existing retail banks. And actually, the service that I now get from my retail bank, I think is as good as one that I could get from a challenger bank. So industries can change. They change when there's competition, when there are new entrants. So we should be encouraging new entrants. We should be removing those high costs of entry. We should be making sure that the regulation encourages competition. We need to worry about trust. And actually, one of the things that does worry me around some of the new entrants is I've seen the FSA pick new entrants up on their client money and their client money segregation. And I worry that they're not the right investments there. So we need a degree of regulation around the new entrants, but also we need regulation to encourage new entrants. We need those new entrants to be aware of the economies of scale they can get by moving to managed service outsourcers. So, we want new entrants to embrace Gresham and embrace companies like us. We want the market to be a buoyant market. Now, it's not a great market at the moment, but hopefully when the market turns again, and with all those other things I've mentioned, we can hopefully see new entrants come in. And I truly believe that if those new entrants come in, then that will shake up the industry over the medium term.
Neil, thank you so much for sharing your insight with us today. It's been such a pleasure having you here. Honestly, I'm really excited to see how things progress. And honestly, thank you for your time so much.
Anna, thank you.